Makes sense. And, VAWA actually sounds pretty complicated. So I think there's a lot of things that could go wrong. I mean, does Maria need an immigration attorney to get started on something like this?
Nobody needs an immigration attorney.
Okay.
The law doesn't require it. But the problem is she doesn't know what she doesn't know. Again, did she know that she qualified for VAWA when she came to the United States? Probably not. Did Customs and Border Patrol tell her? Maybe, probably not. If she doesn't, she comes in, doesn't speak to anybody, files for asylum, she's just going to go through the asylum process. Maybe she's fortunate and judge says, wait a minute, your spouse is a U.S. citizen? She sees the applications. Were you aware of? Maybe the judge says, did you look into? How often does that happen? Not often. But some judges do take that time and give that consideration. It's what they should do. But judges are so busy, they have so many cases, whether they want to or not, they're not looking for it. So they may not recommend it or suggest it. Or if they do, they may not give her the time to look into it. They might just say, listen, it's not my fault you didn't see an attorney. It's not my fault you waited 4 years to your trial date. And now we find out that you had something better that you could have done. Shame on you. And they'd be right. So the downside of doing it on her own is she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And this is the first application likely of this kind she's ever done. So maybe she sends the wrong form. Maybe she sends the wrong fee. Maybe she doesn't provide the right documents. Maybe that she waits 2 years and gets a request for evidence and then has to respond. Maybe she doesn't do a good job responding and gets denied. Maybe she doesn't know that she's entitled to employment authorization, so she could have gotten it and she doesn't get it all this time. So the law doesn't require her to have an attorney, but because she doesn't know what she doesn't know, there's so many ways where that could go wrong. And really, you only get one shot at this. I mean, yeah, she can file an appeal, but that's taking a relatively simple, controllable situation and making it much, much harder. I have an individual who hired me for an opinion. He had a family-based application out of Texas, and he was from Mexico, and he would travel back and forth, and he had identification travel back and forth while his case was applying. So this is 40 years ago. He's at the border. Officer interviews him. Actually, he's the one driving, but his passenger, his friend, is American, looks American, speaks fluent English, and him and the CBP agent, then it was INS, Immigration Authorization Service, had a conversation, and then my client understands that he was asked for ID. He presents his driver's license. He gets arrested for making a false claim to U.S. citizenship. He's like, what are you talking about? I never said I was a U.S. citizen. I even showed you my employment authorization, and I showed you my immigration documents. Why would I claim to be a U.S. citizen when I'm not? I'm entitled to enter the United States. He was put into removal. He was deported. He was given an order of removal when he says he never made the claim to begin with. He's been fighting this for 40 years. He's inside the United States, married to a U.S. citizen. He has 3 U.S. citizen children, all adults, no criminal record, but judge felt he lied. And now he's trying to undo that when he never actually said, again, his words, I wasn't there either, so I don't really know. But you never know what you never know. And here he is. Now he's had some decent attorneys, he's had some bad attorneys, but 40 years filing for this that could have been avoided. That's a worst case scenario.
That sounds like it. And so, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it sounds like hiring a good immigration attorney will save you time and money in the long run. The real question is, I mean, what should somebody look for in a good immigration attorney or to make sure that this person is legitimate?
So look, you got to do your homework, like in everything in life. You have to interview the attorney from the perspective of, well, do they know what they're talking about? So I can give you a list of things to do, but the most important part for the client is, do you trust the person? How do they treat you? When you call the law firm, how do they treat you? When you show up, whether virtually or in person, and you meet the attorney or you meet their consultant or you meet their staff, how do they treat you? Do they give you confidence? That's the number one thing, because if they're not treating you well before you hire them and you give money, they're not likely to do that afterwards. So you want to see, hey, is this somebody that's good at what they do? So do they have, where can I learn more about them? I can go to their website. Do they have videos? Do they have client testimonials? Have they been interviewed on TV? Do they have their own radio show? Do they have their own YouTube channel? Can I go and listen or hear to things they've said or done so I can see how they do things? We happen to have